You were asking about films that were, might have, set us off on that path, and I'm not sure if it's the same for you, James, but certainly when I was coming up as a kid, there was absolutely no expectation whatsoever of working in movies. It's true they don't still make very many films in Britain, but there are quite a lot of British actors getting work in films. And so all our expectation really was focused on the theatre. The film was kind of a secret hope, which you didn't talk about too much because it was rather considered to be an inferior form by people where I come from, and I didn't really buy into that. But no, it was the theatre was the thing.
Yeah. There's always this weird pecking order too, of like it's theater looks down on the film actors who look down on the television actors, and thank God for reality shows, or we wouldn't have anybody looking all over the reality shows. Yeah, those guys are schmucks.
I think I find what's really interesting about coming to LA, and I think it's changing at home now as well in London, but certainly as well in Glasgow, but it was never there when I was growing up. What I find really interesting about coming here is that there is an expectation, not only when you're on the path to becoming an actor, to make it into films, television or whatever, but before you've even decided, as a child, it's an option. Whereas as a child, it wasn't like I was desperate to be an actor and there was a glass ceiling and I knew I couldn't get through it to become an actor. It was never like that. It was never even a consideration. Whereas these days, I think certainly in LA it's different because it's everywhere. But even at home, I think there's kids going, I want to be a famous actor. I want to be an actor, and not even just I want to be an actor. Even at home now.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's changed, and that's only in like 15 years or whatever. And I find that really strange. That's
actors were weirdos when I was growing up.
to meet an
They're
actor.
fine now.
And you kind of, it was like flying the freak flag. That was where the pride was that you were a pariah of some kind.
And the street, I don't know if you ever had a similar thing, but to see someone on television or in film who was from your hometown was really embarrassing. You couldn't watch it.
Really?
You'd be like, God, that guy speaks with such a strange accent, and it's your accent. I think that's largely to do with the fact that, British television or Scottish television was full of English things and American things. So every now and again when you got the odd Scottish programme, it'd be like, oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. But anyway, I digress.
So, and this is maybe a generational thing too. When I came out from Kentucky to do this. You actually had to do some form of theater just to get an agent, just to get, whether it was showcases or whatever it was, there was a process that you sort of had to go through. There wasn't such thing as sort of instantaneous fame. You couldn't get famous. It wasn't even really a consideration at all. And it seems now that there's a big jump now that you can suddenly get into a place where you get in without all the tools that you might need for fame, when you get in a tricky situation. That seems to be sort of a generation thing that's happened.
Tools, you mean professionally or personally?
Well, both, probably. Professionally, certainly, because, every once in a while you get in a spot and you go, well, probably I have some tricks I could fall back on at this point to save me when things aren't going well. And personally, probably because you'll have the experience of having not been famous a lot, or almost being famous a few times, or really getting beat up. I think you may not, in a way, you don't get that buffer now of the experience.
Professionally as well, that you can spend a long time playing small parts and playing any part and being desperate to get any part, so you have to become a slightly different actor for each part. And, it's a second kind of training, I suppose. But like you say, if it happens bang like that, suddenly you're having to carry movies. And I really, I applaud people who do it well, because I just worked with Keira Knightley, and that happened for her when she was a wee girl, and she manages to carry these films. I just think, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it without all the little things that came before,